Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining me for morning flow today. We'll start out today in child's pose. You come up onto your hands and knees, bring your big toes together. You can widen your knees if you like, move them further apart. If your knees give you trouble, it might feel better to keep them closer together. And sit back towards your heels. Walk your hands forward, let your head come down to the ground. If your head doesn't quite reach the ground, you might try stacking your hands and rest your forehead on the top of your hand. You could also put a folded blanket, pillow, or a yoga block if you've got blocks under your forehead so that the weight of your head is supported and your neck can disengage. And depending on how you're feeling, your child's pose can be active or passive. You could keep reaching forward with your hands and stretch your arms and shoulder girdle, or you can just let your arms be slack. And if reaching your arms forward bothers you in any way, it might be preferable to reach your hands back by your feet instead. Notice your breathing. Let it get slower and deeper, which will just happen by getting still and focusing. It doesn't take any special tricks. Child's pose is a great shape for a starting point because it encourages focusing inward. You're almost gazing at your navel. Maybe your eyes are closed, maybe they aren't, but it's a nice way to reduce outside sensory input. Tuning into your own breathing, noticing what's going on in your body. And any outside input that you do have can just be something else to integrate. It might be some noise nearby. We all have different environments here. So focusing in doesn't have to be about shutting things out. It's just a matter of where we direct our attention. As you breathe in, feel expansion in your upper body. And as you breathe out, feel settling down in your back, lower body. With each inhale, your chest expands. And as you exhale, maybe your hips sink a little lower. And start to extend your observations outward from this central channel of your breathing and the movements associated with your breathing. And just notice everything that's going on in your body right now. Notice whatever there is to notice. What is speaking up? Especially make note of anything that doesn't feel so good as you're tuning in, taking stock of any aches, any stiffness, perhaps thinking of sending your breath to those places, giving yourself some TLC, and just making note of what's going on so you can keep it in mind during practice and use it to tailor your practice. You're welcome to skip or modify anything we're going to do to suit yourself and meet yourself where you're at. When your mind wanders during practice, you find your attention is drawn away from your breathing and away from noticing what's going on in your body. Just gently redirect and come back to those points of focus. And you may have come here with something else in mind as an intention for your practice. If so, focus on that personal intention you have and let it really sink in for a few breaths. And before we begin to move around, let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths together. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sighing sound. If your hands are reaching back by your feet, bring them forward again in front of you, in front of your head. And inhale, slowly come up onto your hands and knees. And we'll make our way to the table, squaring ourselves off, making sure your hands are open way up, shoulders above your wrists, and your hips above your knees. Inhale to bring your heart forward, let your head and tailbone go up. As you exhale, draw your heart up, let your head and tailbone come down. Just going at the pace of your breath, use the whole inhale to come to cow pose and use the whole exhale to come to cat. And after your next exhale, come back to table with your back neutral, parallel to the ground. Reach back and press into the ball of your left foot. Push your heel out away from your tailbone. Let your leg lengthen for a couple breaths. With an inhale, pick your foot up, reach straight back through the sole of your foot, like you're going to make a footprint on the wall behind you. With your next inhale, reach your right arm out to the side, palm down. If you want to go further, bend that leg, reach that hand back, see if you can take hold of your foot or your ankle. And if you do, kick against your hand, look forward and slightly up. Release your bind if you're in a bind, let your knee and your hand come back down. Reach back and press into the ball of your right foot. Take a couple breaths there. With an inhale, pick your foot up and reach straight back. With your next inhale, reach your left arm out to the side for a couple breaths. If you like, bend your leg, reach back, see about taking that bind. Release your bind if you got the bind. Let your knee and your hand come down. And we'll take some twists here, starting from table. The twist leads into an arm extension, but I want you to make sure to focus on your back and not just on your arm. So we're going to go to the left first, and the movements in the spine are small, but really feel into it. Inhale, twist to the left through your lower back, middle back, upper back, and then reach your left arm out and up and look up towards your hand. Exhale, come down, reach across behind the other arm. Now let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, open up. Exhale, reach across. And at the end of that third breath, gently lower down. Let your left shoulder come down to the floor and your left ear. So maybe that's plenty to do. That's a nice twist. You could just breathe there. If you want to explore some options, there are extensions with the leg and the arm that we might do. You can reach back and press into the ball of your left foot, similar to what we just did. You can also pick that foot up and reach back in the air. That does sometimes tip you over onto your back. So just be mindful of that. It's a gentle fall, but it happens. Or you might bring that foot out to the right side by your left hand. Or you could just keep your knee on the floor and skip all that. You might keep your right hand on the floor or reach your right hand up towards the sky and let your arm rotate in the shoulder socket like an owl, turning your head back and forth. Or just fold your arm across your low back. And you can do the arm extension without the leg and the leg without the arm, or do them both, or skip them both. If you have moved your right hand from the floor, slowly bring it back and ground into it. And if you've moved your right leg, bring it back in and plant your knee. Press into your right hand. Big inhale. Open up. Reach up. Look up. And exhale. Bring that hand down. And take 3 or 4 breaths of cow pose and cat pose again. And then we'll do that twist on the other side. And when you're ready, come back to table. And going to the right now, inhale, twist through your lower back, middle back, upper back. Reach your right arm out and up. Exhale, come down and reach across behind your left arm. 2 more times. And at the end of the third breath, gently let your right shoulder down. Let the right side of your head come down. And play as you like with extending your left leg and or your left arm. You don't even have to make the same choice you did on the other side. You might do something different on this side. If you've taken your left hand off the floor, bring it back and plant it. And if you've moved your left leg, bring it back in, plant your knee. Big inhale, open up. Again. Exhale, come down. And take 3 or 4 breaths with cow and cat. And sit back and take child's pose for a minute. And just take an inventory of how it feels. Compare it to how you felt in the first child's pose not so long ago. What feels different? And it's okay if nothing feels different or if you can't tell. Just returning to that noticing stance, that self observation. Notice whatever there is to notice. Slowly make your way forward and up. Come out of child's pose back through table. And we'll start to stand in a forward fold. Now I'm going to incorporate blocks in some of these movements today. Blocks are a great thing. You may have them, you may not. I won't do anything where you absolutely have to have them. I've got some back trouble going on, so these are going to help me by bringing the floor closer to my hands. You step the right foot up between your hands. That also gives you more room to move your leg, by the way. You got blocks under your hands here. And then we step the left foot up to meet it and hang out in our forward fold. Knees bent a little or a lot as you like. Head and arms hanging down. So your hands might be in the air. They might rest on blocks or rest on the floor or just sort of drag on the floor. I'm using mine for more active support, taking care of my back issue here. Shake your head no. And nod your head yes. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the front of your legs, and push against your legs. Feel the crown of your head draw forward away from your tailbone. With an exhale, relax down. Inhale, roll up to standing, hands up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let your hands hang at your sides. Lift your left shoulder towards your ear. Shift it back and let it down. Picture moving the bones, nudging your skeleton around. Raise your right shoulder, send it back, and let it down. Inhale, reach out to the walls. As you exhale, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or if you like, take eagle arms. Twine your arms together, press your palms together. If you're in eagle, move your elbows and your hands up and out away from you. Inhale to open up. As you exhale, cross your arms the opposite way, grabbing your shoulder blades or taking eagle arms. Inhale, open up. Exhale, let your arms come down. Inhale your arms out and up. Interlace your fingers, flip your palms up, and look up at your hands and lift up your heart. Come back to center. With an exhale, bend to the right. Feel the length through both arms. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, bend to the left. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, let your arms come down. We'll start into some sun salutations. Little note on Zoom and sun salutations. When I go from forward fold to plank, I'm going to walk my hands forward, where traditionally we would be stepping our feet back. And when I go from downward dog to forward fold again on the second half of the sun salutation, I'll be walking my hands back to my feet, where traditionally we walk feet towards hands. So I'm doing this to keep my whole body on the camera when I'm standing up. You don't have to do anything differently on your end. But maybe you want to try it just to mix it up and see how that variation feels. Variation is fun. Also, depending on the space you're in, if I go like this with my arms and you don't have room to do that, you can go like this. No need to hit the wall. One of these days I'm going to knock a picture off the wall. Inhale up. Exhale, fold down, soft knees, spare your back. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, fold down. Make your way from forward fold to plank. And you can use blocks here. I'll be using blocks today, maybe through all of them. Maybe I'll set them aside at some point. Feel into the plank. Let your hips come down in line with your shoulders and heels. Or if you opt for a shoulder plank, you can lower your knees, and then your hips are in line with your shoulders and your knees. And you can take a shoulder plank anytime that we're in plank. Whichever plank works better for you in that moment. Exhale, lower halfway down, elbows in close. Drop your knees if you want. Inhale to bring your heart forward. Cobra or upward facing dog. Listen to your low back. Whichever heart opener is best for you. Exhale, rock back, maybe pass through table and on up to downward facing dog. And walk your dog, pedal your feet up and down. Heels getting closer and closer to the ground. Make your way from down dog to forward fold again. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale down. Make your way to your plank. When you're ready from plank, exhaling, lower halfway down, elbows in. Inhale to bring your heart forward, open your heart. Exhale back and up to downward facing dog. Make your way to forward fold again. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale down. Make your way to your plank. On an exhale, lower halfway, elbows in close. Inhale, bring your heart forward. Exhale back and up. Inhale, raise your left leg up high behind you. Bend your knee and stack your hips, left hip above right hip. Here you can either flex your foot, make a couple circles with your knee in each direction, or if you like, flip your dog. If your flips, gently flip back. Square your hip down. Exhale, draw your knee towards your left elbow. Inhale, reach your leg back up. Exhale, draw your knee towards your nose, round your back, and plant your foot between your hands. That's also a great place to use blocks. Gives you more room to move that leg. So runner's lunge, you're up on the ball, your right foot. Left foot planted between the hands. Maybe tense your fingertips, give you some more height. Inhale, reach forward, reach up, crescent lunge. Now we'll do some movement from here. If the high lunge is too much, you can drop the back knee and do a lower lunge like this. I'm going to do it on this side because of the position in the back. But you can stay in your high lunge if you like. Exhale, sink forward in your hips, lower your arms. Inhale, glide back and lift your arms. Exhale and inhale. One more. And let's twist. Reach your left hand forward, reach your right hand back. Twist to the right. Come back through center and twist to the left. Come back through center. Exhale, bring your hands down. And step your left foot up to meet your right. I said that wrong. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Mix myself up. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, down. Make your way to your plank. On an exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, bring your heart forward. Exhale, back and up to downward facing dog. Inhaling, raise your right leg up. Bend your knee and stack your hips. Flip your dog if you like, or flex your foot. Make a couple circles with your knee in each direction. Square your hip down. Exhale, draw your knee towards your right elbow. Inhale, reach your leg up again, three-legged dog. Exhale, draw your knee towards your nose, round your back, and plant your foot between your hands, runner's lunge. Tent your fingers. Inhale, reach forward, reach up, crescent lunge. It's always okay to get ahead. We do everything twice so you know what's coming. Exhale, sink forward in your hips, lower your arms. Inhale, glide back and up. Anytime you can drop the back knee and do the lower lunge if you need to. One more. Twist to the left. Come back through center. Then twist to the right. Come back through center. Exhale, bring your hands down. And now step your right foot back to meet your left to down dog. And take 3 cleansing breaths. Let your knees gently down and take child's pose just for maybe half a minute. If you want to give your arms a break, you might reach them back by your feet instead of reaching forward. Take your time, start to come out of your child pose, come up through table. When you're ready from table, make your way back to downward facing dog. We'll do a little more preparation, and we're going to be doing pigeon shortly. But a couple things before that. Inhaling, lift your left leg up. Bend your knee, stack your hips, flex your foot, circle your knee a couple times in each direction. Square your hip down. Exhale, draw your knee towards your chest and send your foot over to the right side. Rest the outer edge of your foot on the floor, star pose. If you want to go further, continue on to falling star. Bring your right hand in towards your heart and up towards the sky. If you raise your right hand, slowly bring it down. Draw your knee to center, reach your leg up high. And now we'll come to pigeon. Exhaling, draw your knee towards your left wrist, your ankle towards your right wrist. Let the lower leg land on the ground. Let the back knee down, let the back toes uncurl. Press into your hands, inhale, look up, lift up, open the center line. And exhale, walk your hands forward, melting down towards the ground. And pigeon is always an exploration. We're just going to see how much openness your hips want to find here. So just really surrender to gravity and breathing and allow room for the posture to evolve. So as your hips settle some more, you might scoot that right knee back a little. You might scoot your elbows forward. Your head might come down to the ground, or you could put a block under your forehead. And this is some deep work in the hips, and we store a lot of things in the hips. There's the mundane tension, fascial adhesions, things in the muscles and connective tissues. But there's also energetic things that are stored in the hips. We have issues in our tissues, someone famously said, and got us all saying it. You can wring out whatever that is. And strange sensations come up sometimes in pigeon. You might find yourself suddenly giggly or angry or sad, and there's no conscious thought associated with this sudden emotion. And we don't need to figure out what it is. We can exhale and let it go. Take a couple more breaths here if you like. When you're ready, very slowly, we'll rewind ourselves, walk your elbows in closer, get your hands planted, pressing into your hands to lengthen your arms, lift your head and chest. And if you want, here we can take a bind similar to what we did on all fours earlier. You can bend that back leg, reach back. I like to use the opposite arm. Some people like to use the same side, and maybe you connect with your foot or your ankle. Today, I'm not connecting because that's the side where my low back has been troubling me. So I'm just reaching back and bending my leg for a gentler quad stretch, gentler shoulder opening. Release the bind if you're in a bind. Plant your hand, plant your foot, press into the ball of that foot to lift that right knee. Press into both hands. Inhale, reach your left leg way up. And once more on this side, we'll bend the knee, stack the hips, flex the foot, make a couple circles with your knee in each direction. Help get the blood flow going back into the hip socket because pigeon pose pinches your femoral artery. Square your hip down, lower your leg. Inhale, lift both heels. Maybe you rock onto your toes. Exhale, lower. Inhale, raise your right leg. Bend your knee, stack your hips, flex your foot, and circle your knee. Square your hip down. Exhale and draw your knee towards your chest. Send your foot over to the left side. Star pose. And if you want to continue on to fallen star, bring your left hand in and reach it up. If your left hand's raised on an exhale, let it come down. Plant it. Draw your knee to center. Reach your leg up high. On an exhale, slowly draw your leg forward. Knee towards right wrist, ankle towards left wrist. Let the left knee down, uncurl the left toes. Press into your hands. Inhale, lift your head and chest. Exhale, relax, melt forward. Walk your hands and arms forward. See what happens. Remember to allow room for those adjustments, for the arms to come forward a bit, or the knee to go back a bit, as your hips continue to open and settle, and maybe lower a bit more. You can spend a couple more breaths here if you like. When you're ready, take your time to bring your arms back and get your hands planted. And press into your hands to lift your head and chest. And if you like from there, you want to explore that bind, you can bend the extended leg and reach your hand back. See about taking a bind. This time I can get the bind. Release your grip if you've got it. Let your foot and your hand down. Press into the ball of your foot to engage your leg. Press into your hands to lift the other leg back and up. And bend your knee, stack your hips, flex your foot, make a couple circles with your knee in each direction. Square your hips down and lower your leg. Inhale to lift your heels. Exhale to lower your heels. And walk your hands back to your feet. Come to forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, roll to standing, hands up overhead. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Shift your weight from one leg to the other with your feet planted. Set your eyes on something straight ahead at about eye level that's not going to move. We'll be playing with tree pose, and anchoring yourself with your gaze can be helpful in keeping the tree steady. When you're ready, drop the weight into your right leg. Let that knee stay soft and responsive. Pick up your left knee. Maybe your thigh comes parallel to the ground. Think of opening a door. Bring your knee out to the side. And you're going to bring your left foot to your right leg. So it might be heel on the ankle, toes on the ground, or sole of your foot on your calf. You could reach out and grab a wall or something to help you out. You might put the sole of your foot on your thigh. You just never want to press sideways on your knee. Better to stay on your calf than to not quite be on your thigh and pushing your knee on the wrong axis. The knee doesn't want to be pushed that way. And yeah, your hands can be at your heart, or the branches of your tree can grow into whatever shape you want. Check in with your breath. Sometimes we hold our breath when we start to focus on something trickier. I don't know why we do it, but it doesn't help. Beautiful. Bring your hands back to your heart. Bring your knee forward. Let your foot down and shake out that leg and anything else. Maybe both legs, maybe a little dance. Shake the arm, shake your head. And when you're ready, hands back at your heart. Shift side to side a few times, as many times as you like, to ground your feet and reset your hips. When you're ready, bring the weight into your left leg. Slowly raise the right knee. Open the gate of the hip. And bring your foot to your leg. And take whatever arm expression is calling you here. It might be the same as the other side, or it might be something completely different. You can always change your mind about where your foot is going to be. You might put it down and pick it up again. It's all good. Bring your hands back to your heart. Beautiful, strong trees. Bring your knee forward. Let your foot down and shake things out. We'll play with another balance. We'll play with Warrior 3. And if you have blocks, blocks can be very handy for Warrior 3. You can stand them up on the tall position, shoulder width apart. So you can start from this squared off shape like this. If you don't have blocks, it's fine. You can have your hands hanging or against your legs, or just hands at your heart. So a couple different ways we can do this. You can start from here and raise one leg. You're going to reach back like you're making a footprint on the wall. And you come away from the blocks when and if you like. If you're not using blocks, you might come to a lunge. Hands at the heart. And spring from the lunge to Warrior 3. Push off the back foot and bounce forward. And as the leg comes up, let that Weight of the leg, tip the body forward. So you're aiming for coming up parallel to the ground. Picture your body parallel to the ground, even if you think it isn't. Imagine it is, reaching back through that foot. So hands pressing together at the heart and pressing to the sternum can be helpful. If you feel steady and want to play more, you might reach your hands back by your hips or out to the sides or out in front of you. They can always come back to the heart. They can come to your blocks anytime if you've got the blocks. Maybe you only use one block, maybe you use both. And you can put your foot down and pick it up anytime, start over. With an exhale, lower your leg. Inhale, slowly stand. And have a shake before we do the other side. I'm going to use my blocks again for the more supported version. Do it either way you like. Maybe you like springing from the lunge. I usually do like springing from the lunge, but my back doesn't want me to do it today. So come to your lunge or to your fold. And when you're ready, start to make your way up into your warrior three. Using blocks, you can also have a wall nearby and bring a hand to the wall to steady yourself. When we do these one-legged balances like tree or warrior three. And one side might be very different from the other side. It is for me today. I'm just going to keep my hands on these blocks the whole time. So I'm still getting the same extension in the raised leg and opening in the front of that hip socket. And I'm picturing making a footprint on the wall with that raised foot. Picturing my body parallel to the ground. Exhaling, lower your leg. Inhale, slowly stand. Just long enough to shake it out. And then it's time to sit and start to wind down. Make your way gently to a seat. See, I even use my blocks to help myself sit down. So come to a seat with your legs extended forward, your feet flexed back towards you. Inhale to reach your arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold down over your legs. And here, if your knees want to bend, just let them bend. Think of breathing into your lower back. Maybe on the exhales, finding a little more release. Maybe the fold deepens. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit yourself up. Let your arms help your legs open out. And walk your hands down your legs as far as you can, wherever that is. Maybe it's your shins, maybe it's your ankles, maybe it's your feet. Slowly bring your left hand over next to your right hand. Take a couple breaths. And nice and slowly open your right arm out to the side and turn your head to look towards that hand. So maybe your hand reaches back behind you. Slowly bring that arm back. Right hand next to the left again. And bring your left hand back to the left leg or left foot. Bring your right hand over by your left. Take a couple of breaths here. And slowly open your left arm out to the side and turn your head towards that hand. Bring your left hand back by your right. Bring your right hand back over to the right leg or right foot. And walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit up. Let your arms nudge your legs in. Bring the soles of your feet together. Heels a good distance away from your pelvis. If you can, slide your hands under your ankles. Grab the floor. If that doesn't work, reach your hands over your ankles and grab the floor. Either way, we're going to just walk our hands forward, bring ourselves down into this pretzel kind of fold, and let your neck relax, let your head dip down. Breathe into your lower back. Slowly start to scoot your hands back. Press yourself up to a seat. And take one more forward fold, keeping your feet together. Now bring them in close. Heels as close to your pelvis as they'll go. Interlace your fingers. Grab the tops of your toes. Wriggle on your seat. Bring the bones in your seat closer to the ground, tilting your pelvis. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Exhaling, hinge at the hips, folding forward with a long spine as much as you can. Whenever the long spine stops lowering, then let the neck relax and let your head dip down and breathe into your hips. Maybe your arms press against the inside of the legs, nudging the legs down, nudging the hips open. Inhale, slowly sit up. Let your arms help your legs, lift your knees towards each other, rest your feet on the floor. And make your way down onto your back. Bring your hands behind you. Lower onto your forearms, then onto your back. I'm going to spin myself. Give a different view. Extend your legs down along the mat after you're down on your back. And we're going to play with pigeon pose. There's a nice energetic counter. Not pigeon pose. Fish pose as an energetic counter to pigeon. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's nice to do a deep heart opener after doing pigeon. We often do bridge, but it's nice to mix it up. So we'll play with fish today. If you haven't done fish before, it's kind of an odd one. You're going to lift your right hip and slide your hand under your butt, palm down, sit on the back of your hand. So this is the sort of funniest part. And do the other side. So you're sitting on the backs of both your hands. Probably not something we do very often. Zip your feet and legs together and walk your elbows in towards each other. So you end up with your forearms bearing the weight and you've lifted your back off the ground. Feet and legs still together. Inhaling, lift your head and chest. Press into your elbows. Keep your chest raised, your shoulders raised. Let your head nice and slowly tip back. And you want the crown of your head to just barely find the floor. Maybe you just feel your hair touch down. We're not really putting weight on the neck. And take some huge breaths here. And on the exhales, release whatever sound might want to come out. In addition to opening the heart a lot, we're opening the throat way up. Things get stuck in the throat like things get stuck in the hips. Things might get stuck in the throat because you didn't say something when you wanted to, or you couldn't, or because you said something you wish you hadn't. Come out nice and slowly. Lift your head. Come all the way forward and tuck your chin into your chest. And then let your shoulders down. And then let your head down. And then free up your hands and your arms. If your hands went a little numb, you might tap them on the floor or just wave them around in the air. What one friend calls starfish dance party. Take the numbness out of the hands. Draw your knees towards your chest. Hug your knees. Explore rocking and rolling to massage your back against the ground. And let's make our closing supine twist here the simplest supine twist. With your knees in towards your chest, reach your arms out to the sides. Keeping your shoulders on the ground, just let your legs fall to the right and turn your head to the left. The closer your knees are to your chest, the deeper the twist will feel, so you can regulate the sensation by repositioning your knees. And don't worry about how far your legs go. Just keep your shoulders grounded. Your legs will go where they need to. Slowly come back up through center and just let the movement continue to carry you into the other twist. Legs left, head right, shoulders grounded. Slowly come back to center. Reach your feet up towards the sky. Reach your hands up to grab your legs or your feet and play with bending and straightening your arms and legs in happy baby pose. If there's some other inversion pose you prefer, feel free to explore whatever that might be for you. Many ways to bring the legs and the feet higher than the heart. And let those feet and legs drain. Moving a little or a lot as you like. You can invert for as long as you like. When you feel complete with that, you can make your way to Shavasana, a resting pose of your choice. So it might be the pose we call Shavasana, corpse pose, legs extended, feet splayed open, hands at the sides. But if that's not comfortable, please get comfortable. It's more important to be comfortable than to be in this posture. So other resting poses you might try, you might scoot over by the wall and rest your legs on the wall. You might plant the soles of your feet, let your knees lean in towards each other. Or bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees splay out. And here you might even put blocks under the outsides of your knees to take the weight of your legs and make the posture more passive. If you're doing one of these resting poses besides corpse pose, you might rest your hands on the ground like corpse pose, or you might rest them on your body. You can conclude practice in whatever posture you can be comfortably still in for a few minutes to breathe and integrate the benefits of your practice. Maybe you focus on your breathing as a very simple meditation, or reflect upon an intention you'd set at the start of our practice today. Or maybe you just let your mind wander off as you breathe and melt into the floor. You're welcome to tune me out, keep doing what you're doing. I've had some feedback that some folks, when it comes to Zoom yoga, when we're all in our separate spaces, they don't really enjoy just the minutes of quiet. So we offer something else. You could always just turn the sound down and ignore me if you don't want to hear this. We'll offer what's called a body scan. It's just a simple checking in with yourself, but it's in more detail than the general guidance at the beginning of practice. So going bit by bit, starting with your head. Picture your face. You're observing yourself. Is there a crinkle in your forehead because you were thinking about something here? Can you relax that crinkle? Give that thought permission to drift away like a cloud on the breeze. Feel your head supported by the ground. Think of the weight of the head. Your head weighs 10 to 12 pounds. Feel it grounding. Feel your neck relax. Feel the nice grounding contact in your shoulders. Maybe on the exhales, feel them open and settle some more. Feeling into the other parts of your back, where they're touching the ground, where they lift away from the ground and touch again with the movements of your breathing. Feel that grounding at the center of your physical body, your sacrum, buttocks on the ground. Feel those nice relaxed hips we did so much for this morning. The weight of your legs. Finally, the grounding contact of your feet. Picturing your whole body at ease, at rest, at peace. Start to give yourself some deeper breaths. Let your body slowly start to move around, moving mindfully, gently, letting the movements grow bigger and bigger. When you're ready for bigger movements, take your time to sit yourself up. Bring your hands up by your heart. Thank you for coming together to share practice today. The light within me sees, and honors, and bows to that same light within you. Namaste. Thanks for joining me. Feedback and questions are always welcome. That goes for the folks here live, but also for you watching this later on YouTube. Feedback helps me be a better teacher, so please leave comments if you're watching us on YouTube later on. Visit our digital tip jars at urbanyoga.org or the Facebook page, Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center. Information is there for PayPal and Venmo and Zelle, and you can contribute to us to support these classes. Have a lovely day.